Mercedes-AMG Interview Lounge.
How would you like it if you had a friend get in touch with you to check out your wellness, see how you're doing, how you feeling? You know, we say every day, pick up the phone and call someone, even if you think they're doing okay, and just kind of take their temperature, see how they're doing. Well, Dr. Oz and System 21, this all-new month-long wellness plan kicking off the year, I think we should take part in this. I know I need it. I think we all need it. We are going into this new year feeling the same as we did last year in some ways, but we have this new ray of hope beaming down on us. And I think this is the best time when we have a little ounce of positivity and hope that we actually take care of ourselves. Dr. Oz, welcome to the show. It's always great to see you and be with you.
Well, it's a blessing to be here. I tell you, what you mentioned about hope is important for us to remember because we've gone through some dark times. And I just got vaccinated last week. I know not everyone wants to get vaccinated, but for the people who want to get vaccinated, it makes you feel light to realize you can walk around with a much, much lower chance of getting ill. But the fundamental thing we all got to take out of this is we make ourselves healthier day in and day out. We can fight off things like this virus much more effectively. So System 21 was our promise to America, and it's been very popular. To just take the best science we had, things we know will work. They help you not just lose weight, but sleep better, think clear, be a better person across the board as you desire. And also makes you more resistant to things like COVID-19, because they'll think, if not that, something else coming at you, you might as well defend yourself.
You know what I noticed, Dr. Oz? I'm reading this new book, Live Like a Monk. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's a fantastic read. And one of the things this incredible author is telling us is that you need to just take stock in your day. What did you do today? Like, what did you do today to contribute to yourself? And I figured out in this past year, I don't do as much for me as I used to do. And I'm talking about reading and eating better and exercising, whatever. And it was like a pan hit me upside the head. And I'm like, wow, I've got work to do. And I think if we just put a little bit of effort in there, you'll see signs that you are moving in the right direction, and it makes you want to do it more and more and more, right? I mean, how are you doing? Like, you're always taking care of us. Who's taking care of Dr. Oz?
Well, I'm blessed with Lisa, who's, as you know, in my house, the prosecution never rests.
Yes.
So she does come after me. But she's really good at what you just mentioned. She's like a monk. You know, she's getting her doctorate. She's a Dr. Oz too soon in psychology. Wow. We take for granted small things that are really important to us, like the rituals in the morning. We spend about 20 minutes a day looking for the missing sock, right? Or, trying to take care of something that doesn't really matter. And think about do the math. That's a year of your life over the course of your life. And so if you're able to take that 20 minutes and instead do something meaningful with it, instead of, again, looking for something that doesn't matter or pestering somebody you shouldn't be bothering, then you'd actually be able to do something meaningful. And much of our lives are spent wasting time on things that don't matter and missing the moments in between the events where life really happens. And Elvis, you and the rest of the team have talked about this a lot. I think what COVID-19 more than anything else did for you, me, and a lot of other folks is it woke us up to the fragility of life. But we can react in fear and run, or we can actually be brave, which is what I think is what Americans usually have done, and say, okay, how am I going to be better because I went through this? System 21, which you touched on, is an example. But you pick your examples. You're living like a monk might be the right way to go. Whatever that path is that you need to find, this is a massive wake-up call. We will look back on 2020 generations from now, the same way some people talk about D-Day and 9/11. And not to compare it equally because they're different, but people will look back and say, we weathered that, and here's what we took from that made us better as a people, as an individual.
Excellent. By the way, the name of the book is Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. It's fantastic.
So Jay was on the show last week from my show.
What did he talk about?
So Jay actually was one of the guys talking about the importance of those moments. We spend so much of our life, missing the stuff that's happening right in front of your eyes that you never noticed. That's what an artist does, right? Artist observes things that we all see, but makes sense of them. And Jay is one of the brightest folks out there because he lived like a monk, but he actually came out of, he's from London, Indian origin, but was living in London, came out of that monk life and was able to connect it to where we are today. Because it's hard to go off and live like a monk when you got to pay a check, right? For the rent and everything else. But right. You can actually do what monks do, living the urban life that so many Americans are in. And he teaches you how to do it.
It's kind of funny, Dr. Oz being here today. We just played a contest a few minutes ago with a good listener of ours. What shows? We play the theme songs from TV shows that were number one 20 years ago. Dr. Oz show debuted in 2009, which was 22 years ago.
Wow.
Can you imagine?
That's
And
crazy.
recently renewed for seasons 13 and 14 through 2023. Pretty amazing stuff. I mean, wow.
They said it wouldn't work.
Did they say that really?
No, that's you that said that.
Oh, yeah. I said that. I'm like, this will never work. No one's going to listen to a nice guy tell us how to live our lives a better way. Who wants that? Now we need it more than ever. So, look, I got Gandhi here. I've got Froggy. We have Danielle and Scary. We have Dr. Oz on. What do you want to talk to him about?
Oh, I have questions.
Yes, Gandhi always has questions.
Okay, so it's New Year. Obviously, everybody has some resolutions, and I know a lot of those resolutions have to do with getting in shape and getting a little bit healthier. What are the easiest, quickest things to kind of get that jump started? Asking for a friend.
Asking for a friend. Well, you know, I finally wrestled the name OzTube away from the Australians because they call themselves Aussies. So we launched OzTube on Monday. And OzTube is all digital shows that I curate. They're made by some of the top experts in all the spaces. And one of my OzTube channels is OzFit. And we have great workouts that are free. What you need to do to get in shape is to get into a routine. Don't do something you're not going to enjoy because you'll stop after a couple of days. The best programs are ones that you actually enjoy day in and day out. So it could be walking, it could be meditation-based yoga, it could be more weights into it. But I'll give you the foundation of what you need to include in the workout, and then go find one of these OzFit videos that you enjoy and make it part of your morning routine. By the way, morning workouts do tend to work better because you control your morning schedule. You can't make excuses later in the day, and actually you'll sleep better if you work out in the morning in general. So, but here's the thing, there's three parts to it. First is you have to have a limbering element, a loosening up part, because otherwise you get hurt. And that's actually the easiest way to ease into the workout, because when you first get up in the morning, you can stretch your back, your legs, your feet, whatever it is that you make as an excuse to hold you back. Then number two, get your heart rate up. You need the heart rate to go up a little bit just to rev the engine of the body, but it also warms up your muscles, because the third part is exposing your body to a little bit of weight. It could be push-ups, sit-ups, calisthenics. It could be with real weights. But you have to do something that actually builds a little bit of tone in your muscles. Your muscles and your bones regenerate themselves continually, and they will not make themselves strong if you're not pushing them a little bit. So that three-part, loosening up, getting a little bit of aerobic, but getting your heart rate up, and then some strength work at the end. And that can be done 20 minutes, 25 minutes. So by the time you start, you're almost done. So there's no excuse. Just automate it. Make it part of every single morning.
Okay.
Isn't it kind of funny how? Oh no, go ahead, Gandhi. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just going to say I'll tell my friend that. No.
By the way, I made a mistake in my math about how many years ago 22 years was versus 12, and 15,000 listeners were right there to catch that mistake because that's what people do. So thank you for taking your valuable time, which I know is worth so much, to text us to say someone made a mistake. Obviously, there's a human on the radio. Jerk. Seriously, don't get a life. I caught you making a mistake. Guess what? My poo stinks too, okay?
Oh my gosh.
Don't come sniff it.
Elvis, you're canceled.
I'm canceled.
God.
Dr. Oz. Seriously. Okay, so now we have OzTube going. See, you have so many plates spinning.
I have a mask question. Can I ask a mask question?
Please.
Mask?
Yeah.
Oh, mask. I was thinking Halloween. I'm like,
So no, not Halloween.
Why?
No, so I know we have to wear them. Obviously, we have to right now. But my question is, when we're not getting exposed to the germs that we would normally get exposed to, like a cold or like a regular virus, because we're wearing the mask, when we finally take the masks off, are we going to be more vulnerable to those things?
Yes. And one of the reasons that we have no flu season, and we didn't expect to have much of one, because in Australia, which is 6 months behind, ahead of us in their flu season, they had none, 4% of the baseline, because they're wearing masks and social distancing. So yeah, you could knock out all these infections, but there's a price you pay. I had the Surgeon General on the show this week, and he's really been honest with our audience about what he thinks is going on. And he said, we're going to have the government estimates. We're going to have more people dying deaths of despair because they've been isolated from each other, then will die from the virus.
Wow.
Now, it doesn't mean that we didn't have to do some of the things we're doing, because the virus could have been much worse, but the deaths of despair are dramatically increased. It's not worth it for the flu. And parts of it probably are worth it for COVID-19. But the challenge for us is to figure out what's most important. But you bring up masks as an example. So I did something on Monday that I got a lot of feedback on. we made a room with augmented reality, and Mike Croupain, who's the director of my medical unit, and I sat in that room and we're talking to each other, and we recreated what the germs would look like coming out of our mouths. And so you have larger droplets that come out when you say the word health, right? That at the end, that spits a little bit of stuff out, and that goes about 6 feet. That's the 6 feet rule. That's why we say stay 6 feet away from people, right? But then there's this aerosolized like smoke that comes out of your mouth, like if you're exhaling a cigarette. And that smoke actually fills the room. Now, if you're in a small, poorly ventilated room, it fills that room pretty much completely. So even if you're wearing a mask, it's not going to help you as much as you hope. The mask helps against the larger droplets. So I get up in this animation we made, and I open up the window, and then I open up the door to create cross ventilation, and it completely clears out the aerosolized virus. That's our best understanding today. So masks are hugely effective in a subway, in a public place where people are close to you. If you're in a closed, poorly ventilated room, you need to get out of there or open up the room a little bit to get some ventilation, clean your air filters out at home. Because this time of year in New York, you got to do this. And this is really vital. If you're outside hiking by yourself, you don't need to wear a mask. I see people fighting when I go hiking with Lisa up in the Palisades. What is the big deal? The chance of the virus spreading indoors is 20 times higher than outdoors. So people hiking by themselves outdoors are not going to get the virus. And so that's a place where you can sort of relax a little bit. If we all agree with what the science would predict, we can decide how to wisely use all the tools that are at disposal right now.
So you're saying wear masks.
I saw somebody riding a bike by themselves, nobody around them riding a bike. They had a mask on. I'm like, you're inhibiting your breathing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I know, but you know what? There comes a point where you got to leave. I think we should leave strangers alone. If you're going to ride a bike with a mask on, I feel like a total a-hole if I go, hey!
Oh yeah, I didn't say anything.
Well, I know, but leave them alone. Hey, so what you're saying now is stay outside, wear a mask when you're inside, and there should be a list of words we can't use, words that end in the letter F.
Right?
Yes.
But in fairness, the best thing you said was stop bothering people. If people want to wear a mask, they don't want to wear a mask. If they're thoughtful about what they're doing, listen, there's some jerks that are just walking around the subway without a mask on, right? That's different. But if people are doing things that are defensible, give folks a little space, because ultimately that's what's going to get us through. We are the safety net for each other. That's how we get through crises. I was reading a book about pandemics in the past. Only doctors would do this, by the way. But
how exciting! Sounds like a fun read.
It's not like it's the first time the species has been threatened by a pandemic. These have been recurring problems. What got us through these are some bizarre behaviors that we didn't understand but seemed to work, like social distancing, clean water, etc. But also leaving each other alone so people can figure out what works best, and then we can all copy them.
Yeah, it's simple. If someone's not wearing a mask and you feel uncomfortable, then remove yourself from the situation and just move on. Right. Hey, so one more thing about COVID and everything about it. And Gandhi and I were talking about this earlier. Once I do get lucky enough to get the shot, and I'm telling you right now, light me up like a Christmas tree. I'm ready for it. But once we do get this vaccination, how long do we think it will last and cover us?
So the guy who created the Pfizer vaccine, the first of the vaccines, is Turkish. In fact, it's a great story. His father was an auto worker. He immigrated to Germany from Turkey. He met his wife, who's also an immigrant, Turkish immigrant, and two of them worked together for decades on this technology. And when the virus was first discovered and they sequenced it, within about 48 hours, he had designed the vaccine. So I've had his information, and I've talked to the other experts. It will last at least a year. We believe a lot longer. And that gives me great hope. I actually think that if you've had COVID-19, the vast majority of people will also be protected for a year based on the best data we have to date, but we just can't prove that yet because it hasn't been around that long. But this is really important since you bring it up. The reason there's 2 shots is the second shot will give you the longevity. The first shot protects you probably 80% of the way, short term, but the second shot's valuable long term. One of the big battles, and you guys should be vocal on this, that are going on right now in America, and I'd be curious about your opinion, is should we let people delay their second dose so other people can get their first dose? So I got my first shot last Monday. If I gave Elvis my second shot, instead of hoarding it, right? That's what's happening right now. The state's hoarding my second shot so that it's ready for me when I want to take it 2 weeks from now. Why don't I just give it to you, get you protected too? We're both 80% protected, let's say, and then we both get our second dose when we have enough vaccine to give everyone the second dose. That way, within 6 weeks, we could protect most of America, certainly all the high-risk people, and dramatically accelerate how fast we get through this pandemic. Now, it's been a battle because The FDA, in a harshly worded comment, said, listen, we don't want to confuse Americans anymore. It sends a message. We don't know what we're doing. I mean, I have more confidence in the American people. I think America understands what I just said. And if we said that to everybody, which is, by the way, they started doing that in the UK. The British are doing what I just said. I think we can do this in this country too. Thoughts?
All right, I'll take the Dr. Oz shot number 2. Because you know what? Dr. Oz serum, that's got to be worth something. That's gotta be cool. Dr. Oz, let's move on to something else. Let's talk about sleep. We always talk about how not enough sleep is deadly and too much sleep is just a gift. Let me play this for you. Who do you think made this noise that kept another member of our show up all night last night? Hear this. Recorded just last night. Wow.
That was a good one, that last one.
Yeah.
Now, did he just marry Elvis Duran last year in Arizona? New Mexico?
No.
No, that wasn't Alex.
Good guess.
No, Alex was 2 nights ago. That was nothing to the orchestra in the bed 2 nights ago. Danielle's husband, Sheldon, last night.
What?
Kept her up.
Yep. He says I'm worse than he is, but I just had to prove to him that it ain't easy in my side of the bed either.
And I know we all agree that getting sleep, especially this past year, has been very challenging.
Yeah.
And we're trying to do all the little tricks, like go to bed a little earlier, don't look at your phone, turn off all stimuli. Right? And it's still not really great. We're not getting any sleep.
Well, can I, first of all, Danielle, can I help you with this a little bit? Because this is an area I have a lot of knowledge on. You know, we launched our Dr. Oz Good Life beds. But the reason I did them is because it turns out, and all the experts have been telling me this, we actually proved it in a clinical trial. If you use one of these adjustable bed frames and you elevate the head of your bed, or frankly, just put a couple books under your headstand, just elevate the head of the bed a little bit, it dramatically reduces snoring because it opens up your jaw and your throat. And so in the clinical trial, the 30% of the people who were snorers went to zero. Now, I can't guarantee it's going to work for everybody, but in the clinical trial we did, it went to zero, dramatically reducing snoring. And a lot of snores wake themselves up. It's so loud. That went to zero as well. So if you don't mind, I mean, I'll help you, but I would, do you have an adjustable bed frame?
I don't know. I'd love to try it.
Yeah, I think you'd enjoy it. You know, they fit right into the regular, whatever your furniture is around the bed. And the mattress gets elevated. And I think for a lot of Americans, you know, less than 10% of Americans even think about it, but it helps also with, besides snoring, it helps with lower back pain, with reflux. But it's human beings were not designed to lie flat. And when we force ourselves to lie flat, if you have a little bit of extra weight in your throat or in your belly, it actually closes off the airway. You sound like a kazoo.
So elevate. So is it best to sleep on your back? Is that the best sleep?
Yeah. The best way to sleep is an adjustable bed frame, which is not expensive. Elevate the head of the bed and then put a pillow underneath your knees. That way your back, the pressure on your back goes down, and because your head is elevated, you'll use gravity in order to deal with your snoring and with your reflux. So that is the best way. The second best way is to lie on your side. But if you lie on your side, this is really important, put a pillow between your knees. When we put people to sleep and anesthetize them for surgery, we never, ever put them in a position where there's not a pillow between their knees. Because otherwise the knee that's above, the higher knee, will collapse down, and it puts pressure on your lower back. And the pain will awaken you during the night. So you should always have two pillows, one under your head. That's a bigger pillow so your head doesn't plop down. And a second between your knees so it takes the pressure off your lower back.
I'm thinking just like gynecologists have those stirrups. Yep. We should have our ankles up in stirrups, right? Are you with me? And then elevate the back.
I'm tracking.
Okay. I don't know. I think there's something there.
Elvis, we have a bed that does that will lift up. And I've woken up, so I've gone to bed sometimes and the bed's in a normal position. And when I wake up, Lisa's got the bed. I feel like I'm sitting in a recliner. I'm like, what happened? And it only raises up one side. She's like, you were snoring last night.
She's trying to catapult you out of the bed. Wow.
And it does. It stops. It makes it so it's easier to breathe. Awesome. It really, truly does work.
Yeah, we need sleep, Dr. Oz. We need it. I'm looking for it. We need it because it's killing us. Hey, Scary, did you have a question for Dr. Oz?
Yeah, I just wanted to go back to dieting for a second. A lot of people I know are doing the 16-8, where for 8 hours a day, they can eat. And then the next 16 hours, they decide not to eat anything at all. And they're losing a tremendous amount of weight. So A, is it healthy? And B, does it work long-term?
It works so well that it's the foundation of our System 21 New Year plan. So, every year we launch a plan. They're incredibly popular. Millions of people use them. And this year's System 21 was basically intermittent fasting, which I'll come back to, which you just mentioned, and then with a Mediterranean diet when you are eating. So let's go through this. It turns out that if you can delay your breakfast for a couple hours and eat your dinner a little bit earlier, which obviously shortens the amount of time you're eating during the day, you can eat the same number of calories as you would have anyway, but you'll still lose weight because your hormones are working with you, not against you. And you'll also sleep better at night because if you have something to eat, I mean, most ice cream is eaten at night. You fill your belly with ice cream. It's your intestines have to work all night long while you're trying to sleep. So you don't sleep as well. So by curtailing late night eating and trying to eat your dinner a little bit earlier, when you do go to bed, you sleep better. By the time you wake up in the morning, you're basically intermittent fasting, right? Because let's say you finish dinner at 6 or 7, you wake up at 7, you're 12 hours already fasting without even doing any work. And then you're not hungry because you're fasting, because intermittent fasting reduces your hunger hormones. You can easily go 3-4 hours without having breakfast. So that way, when you eat breakfast at, let's say, 10 o'clock, you've gone 16 hours, as you've described. Yeah, and your body will now allow you to eat what you desire without packing it on your hips and your thighs and everywhere else. And then you want to eat food that's good for you. The Mediterranean diet's the widest studied, most proven beneficial program out there. Hundreds of studies demonstrating its benefit for heart health, brain health, and everything else. And it's food you love, right? Fish, olive oil, vegetables, nuts, the things that are, you can have coffee. By the way, when you get up in the morning, you can still have coffee. That doesn't go against your intermittent fasting. You can have tea.
Excellent.
You just can't have food.
Yeah, but
No,
wait, but you can have black coffee, right? You can't have coffee with like milk and cream and sugar.
No, you could have one. We did the study actually last year. You could have 1 spoonful of cream. So you can't put a huge dollop in there, but an ounce of cream, which will, takes a little bit of the bitterness away.
That's good.
You should see Nate's coffee. He actually orders a milk and they put 1 little drop of coffee in it.
Nothing wrong
It's
with
like
that.
the color of his skin.
Nothing wrong with that.
Wow. Hey, look, so what I want you to do, I want you to check out Dr. Oz's System 21, the month-long wellness plan to kick off every facet of your life. And as far as keeping our intestines busy, I love working my intestines out with lots of food. And so I'll be doing that today. I hope that's a part of the System 21 at droz.com. Is that where I find it?
It's all on droz.com. You'll enjoy. Now, can I give Danielle a gift?
Yeah.
All right, Danielle, if you'll take it, I'm going to ship you one of my adjustable bed frames.
That'd be awesome.
And I just need that. We'll connect afterwards, but I want you to use that. And I want your honest feedback about whether it helps you sleep better at night and takes care of that kazoo next to you.
Okay.
Well, Danielle snores herself.
Oh, yeah.
She's left that out of the
Believe me,
conversation.
last night he punched me a couple of times as well. So it was fair is fair.
And by the way,
You know what?
I'm
I'm going to send you two. I'll send you 2. You can
Thank you.
each have your own adjustable frame. You guys can go to like bumper car wars.
I love it. Thanks.
one for the other bedroom where you'll be sleeping. I just found a secret website, drozsleep.com. You can find out more there, right?
That's that. Thank you very much. That's we can find it all. God bless you.
Look at that. Dr. Oz. Ooh, sorry. I just called him by his first name. Thank you so much. I thank you for being a dear friend and sticking with us all these years while everyone else just ran for their lives because they were the smart ones. But you were tremendous. Thank you. Don't ever let up. And it's so great to have you on the show again. Thank you very much for being here.
I love you guys.
Today.
Your family. Take care of yourself. Stay safe.
We need to take a break. We'll be back after this.
The Mercedes-AMG Interview Lounge.